How are we doing, Cowboys? It's Mr. Lankin here with some Monday motivation. Perhaps you've gotten off to a rough school year. I could see it. The school year is not so normal as it usually is. Maybe you're put off a little bit by how things are going. But overcoming obstacles is part of life. So you are going to have to buckle down and get to it. Learn how to live your life even though there's some difficulties. There's some obstacles. Some things in your way. You've got to make some sacrifices sometimes. You've got to make choices in your life sometimes about how you can proceed. Not everybody's dealt the same hand. I understand that. Not everybody's got, the best resources or the best situation, But hey, guess what? What you make of things, your attitude, your ability to get motivated to do the things that you need to do often have a vast amount more to do with whether or not you're successful than the situation you find yourself in currently right now. Okay? I want to go through a couple of things today. I want to put into your brain some information that I like to go over at the beginning of the year with everybody. We're going to see a few things, and hopefully it's going to pump you up and motivate you, get you ready for the rest of the school year. First off, let's talk about perseverance. Okay? Perseverance is the ability to get things done in your life. Okay? I want to show you a little bit of a PowerPoint right here talking about what is perseverance. What is perseverance? Okay? Perhaps you don't know what the word perseverance means. Okay? Perseverance is the ability for you to overcome obstacles. Perseverance is the ability for you to strive and continue going even in the worst of circumstances. Okay? Let's see what perseverance is. Okay? I got a quote for you. Who said this? I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. That guy said it. Michael Jordan. 6-time NBA champion Michael Jordan said all of this stuff about failing. Michael Jordan. Okay? Michael Jordan is one of the winningest dudes ever. Okay? But obviously not every single time did it go well. Okay? But if you saw that ESPN documentary, that 10-part documentary about the what was supposed to ostensibly talked about the last season that Jordan and the Bulls won their title, but it was also a little bit about every season that led up to that too, and Michael Jordan's whole career in retrospective and everything. Michael Jordan basically took insults, perceived insults, failures, near failures, not quite successes. He took anything and everything that did not go the way he wanted it to, and he used that as motivation to make himself better, to make himself into a champion. If you watch the video, it's not just him that he pushed. He pushed other people. He pushed everyone around him to be better. I mean, freaking Scott Skiles. That guy, Oh, no, I'm sorry. What's his name? The coach of the Golden State Warriors now. That guy was a hack. I mean, he was not that good, but Michael Jordan was there, and Michael Jordan pushed him to a higher level. Okay? So think about that the next time you're sitting around thinking that you got things bad, and it's like, hey, Michael Jordan failed a lot. Okay? Michael Jordan used that failure, used that negative circumstance as motivation to keep going and doing what he needed to do to get to where he was going. Okay? That's a little video that I like to talk about at the beginning of the school year. Even Michael Jordan had some bumps in the road and some difficult times in his life. Okay? So now that we've seen that, let's get a pep talk. Let's get a pep talk from a young man that I like to see every year. Okay? His name, of course, is Kid President.
We all need a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is not people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My parts broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there were 2 paths? I'll be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing, unless you dream stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, keep going, and keep going. Will Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, that's he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. So everybody's doing to give the world a reason to dance. So get to it. You just been pep talked. Create something that will make the world awesome. Play ball.
All right. That was pretty good. I love me some Kid President. Okay? Kid President's a pretty good little motivational speaker. But that is one motivational speaker who is the greatest motivational speaker of our time. And he is the greatest of the speakers because he has the muscles that are the biggest and the strongest. And if you know what his accent is, you know who I'm talking about. That's right, it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And let me tell you, if someone told me that something is impossible, I will go out and do it. That's just the way I always was. I was told to my face, you're nothing but a giant muscle. You can't act. You have no future. You have an accent that is laughable. Ignore the naysayers. Work like hell. Trust yourself. Break some rules. Don't be afraid to fail. I've made a fortune in several careers, and I've been very successful in several careers by believing in myself. Let me tell you, you're going to find the naysayers in every turn that you make. Don't listen. Just visualize your goal, know exactly where you want to go. Trust yourself. Get out there and work like hell, and break some of the rules, and never, ever be afraid of failing. I couldn't have gone to one lifting event in my life if I would have been afraid of failing. Because of course there's a chance that you can fail. When you lift a weight, I tried 10 times to lift bench press 500 pounds. And I failed, but the 11th time I did it. So never give up and never be afraid of failure, because otherwise you box yourself in and you limit yourself. You all should go and be hungry for success. You should be hungry to make your mark, and you should be hungry to be seen and to be heard and to have an effect out there. You have to think outside the box. That's what I believe. After all, what is the point of being on this earth if all you want to do is be liked by everyone and avoid trouble? The only way that I ever got any place was by breaking some of the rules. When you're out there partying.
By the way, this guy right here, that's Lou Ferrigno. That's the guy who played the Incredible Hulk in the old 1980s TV show.
Horsing around. Someone out there at the same time is working hard. Someone is getting smarter and someone is winning. Just remember that. Now, if you want to coast through life, don't pay any attention to any of those rules. But if you want to win, there's absolutely no way around hard work. Don't be afraid to fail. Anything I've ever attempted, I was always willing to fail. You can't always win, but don't be afraid of making decisions. You can't be paralyzed by fear of failure, or you would never push yourself. You keep pushing because you believe in yourself and in your vision. And you know that it is the right thing to do, and success will come. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't listen to the naysayers. I mean, how many times have you heard that you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's never been done before? I hear this all the time. As a matter of fact, I love it when someone says, no one has ever done this before, because then when I do it, that means that I'm the first one that has done it.
Lou Ferrigno again. Once again, the Incredible Hulk. And Arnold is bigger than him.
So pay no attention to the people that say it can't be done. Just remember, you can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in a pocket.
All right. So what did Arnold have to say here? Arnold said that you have to do hard work to get ahead in life. And it's true. There's no getting around hard work, okay? Even in the realms of study, okay? If you are a smart person, you're going to get to a point where your smarts will only get you so far, but at some point you're going to have to study. You're going to have to buckle down and study. I did really, I did pretty well through high school with the intelligence that I have. I was doing pretty good. But when I got to that nuclear power program in the Navy, at a certain point in time, I realized that I was not going to get by just winging it and just, thinking that I pretty much got it. Yeah, I got it. I can go out and party. I can go out and have fun. Okay? I had to put in some time. I had to go study late some days. I had to put in some hours studying before tests and things like that. And, I graduated number 3 in my class. And I was this short, just barely short on getting the possibility of being an officer. Getting picked up for the program that instead of being an enlisted guy, you get to be an officer like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. But, it's like if I had worked just that little bit harder, if I had, not, hung out, with my friends that one extra night, or if I had just put in that little bit more effort, I could have changed my future. I could have changed my life. I could have gone to school early. I could have been a naval officer, have the spiffy white uniforms and look all cool instead of those silly little Dixie cups that we have to wear sometimes and the bell bottoms. But, I'm not mad about it, but it's like, I know that there are points in my life where I could have tried a little bit harder and I could have gotten a little bit more out of life. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be able to say at the end of your life that you tried your best and you did the best you could and you have no regrets because you left it all out on the field. Okay? So, hard work is necessary. Arnold says, through his garbled Austrian accent, you can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in the pockets. Okay? And it's true. It's like, are you sitting around? Are you being lazy? Are you playing Xbox? The other thing he said, someone out there is getting smarter. Someone out there is working harder. Someone out there is working harder every time, like especially right now. It's like, are you just kicking back with your friends, like not really paying attention while you're here in the live stream or something like that? Are you maybe, doing some work on Friday, maybe not, Hey, somebody out there on the north side is doing things right. Somebody out there on the north side of San Antonio is getting better and stronger and going to tutoring and getting a book for studying for the SATs, putting some time in on that, getting a little bit stronger score than you. And guess what? That guy gets to go to college. You got to be a cook at Wendy's. You know what I mean? So it's a slim chance and slim differences sometimes that make all the difference in the world. It's like those slim little margins, that can, like, it's the difference between it, like, point oh, 0.05 and a 0.049. Sometimes that little bit of difference, sometimes just you almost made it, but you didn't. Okay? Don't be that way. Put in the work. Get things done. Even if you think it's something that's not going to be helpful to you in your life. I didn't start off saying to myself, I want to be a nuclear reactor operator. That wasn't something that I was like thinking about when I was like not 9 years old and like trying to figure out my life. I want to play baseball and be like a superstar on the Texas Rangers or the Yankees or something. But you know what? It's like I was messing around in chemistry class and I was doing pretty well. I was getting ahead. I was doing extra reading that I didn't have to. I was like 20 chapters down in the book while they were on chapter 12. Okay, I was down in chapter 20. And it was all about like radioisotopes and nuclear power, nuclear reactions and radiochemistry and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was fascinating. And it's like I got into physics class and like we talked about radiation and nuclear radiation and stuff like that. And then one day this Navy recruiter comes in because my dad was in the Navy and it's like I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after high school, and this Navy recruiter came and presented options, and she says to me, what do you like in school? What are you good at in school right now? And I said, well, I'm pretty good at art. I like history, and I really like this, chemistry and nuclear power and stuff like that. I mean, that was some pretty interesting stuff that I was seeing. I mean, we didn't really get to it because the class was too slow to get to that late chapter in the book, but I was looking at it and I thought it was pretty cool. And she said, oh, you like nuclear power, do you? Have I got the job for you? And she started explaining the Navy nuclear power program and all of the things that they do and how they control the reactor, and they spend 2 years at school, whereas most guys are just getting 6 months of training, and it's all about nuclear power, nuclear reactions. You're going to learn all kinds of stuff about nuclear energy, how to run a nuclear reactor, and that's going to be your job when you go to the fleet and be and you get bonuses and stuff. You get bonuses way more than other guys do. You get a really big re-enlistment bonus if you should choose to stay in the Navy, as opposed to all the other groups. They don't get a fraction of the bonuses that you guys get sometimes. And I was like, heck yeah, that sounds like a great deal. Sign me up. And, that's how I found my calling after high school. That's how I found out what I wanted to do. Learning about something that I didn't know was going to be interesting. Hearing something from somebody else, like sometime, like being introduced to a subject is a good way to find out something that just might be the thing that you decide to do in your life. Okay, it's entirely possible that by paying attention in class one day, you could find something that you didn't know about before, but you're like, dude, I could totally do that for the rest of my life. That's a job I could do. That's something I could definitely do for a job for the rest of my life. And now you got a career. And hopefully it's a good paying one, you know what I mean? Hopefully you can make some bucks off of that. I mean, there's some stuff out there that's like not really lucrative. It's like, it's like you want to do underwater basket weaving, you're not going to get paid much for it. But, it's like sometimes you get turned on to stuff and you didn't even know you knew it. You didn't even know about it before. No one had ever talked to you about it before, but you were paying attention one day and you caught on to it and it caught fire, and that's how you found your job. Okay? Now I want to talk to you about something a little bit different here. There's a few things that we can talk about with regards to motivation. Some people, they're from this area. Let's just say that there are some people in this area who are somewhat down on themselves because of how wealthy or not wealthy this area is. And like, is this, like they're oh, we're just from the South Side. We're just South Side kids, sir. Or do you get down in your demographic group? I'm just a Hispanic. I'm just a Hispanic guy, sir. It's like we don't succeed as much as other people do, or some other nonsense. Or it's I'm a girl, sir. It's like how do I make it? It's like I'm just a girl. It's like nobody lets girls do this. Nobody wants a girl in this industry. Blah blah blah. It's like some people get down on their demographics. Okay, I want to talk to you about somebody. And I go through this, every year, and it's like it's a little bit dated now, but it's like I still want to talk about it. This person right here that you see, this guy right here, if you can read it, his name is Ray Madrigal. Okay? He was the superintendent here at Harlandale ISD for a long time. He was here for a good while. And for looking at him, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't know much about him or anything about him except that he's, obviously a well-fed Hispanic guy. Mr. Madrigal was the superintendent for a number of years here at McCollum. And I used to make the kids go to the superintendent page of the Harlandale ISD website. And there they would find him, and he had a picture, and he had a biography next to his name. And I would ask them to read the biography. And the biography is not up there anymore because he's not the superintendent. But the biography basically said, Mr. Madrigal came from this district. He was a student at Adams or something like that. He went to Harlandale Middle School, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Harlandale High School. He grew up here. He ran the same streets that you do. He was running around in the same neighborhood with the same issues like back in the 80s. This district hasn't changed like tremendously. It's changed demographically. Like, back in the 70s and stuff like that, it was a little bit different demographically. But, for the most part, when Mr. Ray Madrigal was running around these streets, it's basically the same streets that you're running around on now. Same people, same kind of stuff. And, he got out of high school. He was an okay student in high school. He was an okay football player. He didn't really have like a lot of scholarships or anything like that going on. But he did have a friend who worked in the city government, and his friend in the city government said, "Look, I'm going to hook you up with a job with the city, and it's not glamorous work. It's nothing special, but it pays pretty good. And you're not really, it's like you're not really going to go anywhere. It's like this, like the guys that are above us are like, they're in it for life too, and they're never going to retire. And it's just a real comfortable job that doesn't really require you to work too much, but you get a good paycheck for it, and you're working for the city, so it's job security." And Ray Madrigal basically did that for a little bit, and then he said, "You know what? This isn't for me. Doing a job that goes nowhere and has no upward mobility. I don't want to be doing this forever. I want a better job." So he goes back to the school district. He starts doing not volunteering, but he starts working like more or less part-time. He's going to college too. He's using his money that he makes to help him go to college, and he gets the certifications that he needs to become a teacher. And then he starts teaching. He starts coaching. He works his way up into the admin side after he was a coach at the middle school. And then he goes to the high school, and he was doing a real bang up job. He did a great job turning around the middle school. They brought him up to the high school. He did a great job turning around the high school, making Harlandale better. I mean, as hard as that is, because we know how the Indians are. But he did a great job turning around Harlandale. So they decided, hey, let's bring this guy up to the central office. He's got some great ideas. He can give those great ideas out to the schools while working at central office. And he bounced his way up to the top to assistant superintendent. And then they decided, this guy makes a great, assistant superintendent. And then the previous superintendent left, got pushed out, whatever. And they had him as an interim superintendent, and he was doing a good job. And so they made him the superintendent. And now he's the boss. He's the boss of bosses in this school district. He's my boss's boss's boss. Okay? So he runs around wearing nice suits like that, going downtown to those big office buildings downtown, and telling them all about how great the kids of Harlandale ISD is, and how if we had just a little bit more money, a little more funding, we could do a great job for these kids and get them the great education that they deserve. And he was doing a good job of pulling in some money and raking in some, donations and getting some, scholarships and things like that for the kids in this school district. And, when I was going to college to get my master's degree at good old UTSA, the professor who was in charge of the Educational Leadership Studies Department, which is basically a degree to make you into a principal. The guy who was in charge of figuring out who's a good principal and who's a good superintendent, he said, man, I know about your superintendent at Harlandale. He's a great guy. I met him a couple of times. I like that guy. He's a real good guy. You know, my college professors who teach people how to be superintendents and principals thought Ray Madrigal was a really good guy, and he was happy to know him. And I thought that was pretty cool that, you know, it's like I worked for a guy that the guys at the college were, you know, real high on about, you know, his abilities and his leadership. Okay. Now, here comes the bad news. So, no, I'm just gonna, before I get to the bad news, I'm just gonna tell you, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I can't get out of here. I'm gonna be stuck in this neighborhood. I'm not going to get a good job. I can't do this. I can't do that because I'm Hispanic, because I'm African American, because I'm Asian, because I'm a poor person, because I'm not rich, because I'm a girl, because I'm, you know, whatever flavor of, you know, thing that you think is a thing that holds you back. Ray Madrigal was a kid from the same area that you were, you know, raised with the same socioeconomic stuff, raised with the same, you know, racial categories and blah, blah, blah. And he worked hard, and he did the things that he needed to do. And sometimes he chose the hard path. You know, sometimes he chose staying up late at night studying instead of staying up late at night drinking and partying with his friends and whatever it is that, you know, young people, you know, that age do. Okay? He chose to work hard and to get where he's going. Okay? And you can see, like, there's a little news article right here. You can kind of see it up here. You know, Mr. Madrigal served in the district 25 years. Former principal for Harlandale High School and Middle School. You know, he became superintendent. But with great power comes great responsibility. The old Spider-Man line, with great power comes great responsibility. Ray Madrigal was a great guy. He was working hard. He worked his way up. He became superintendent. But guess what? Sometimes you get in trouble. Okay? Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you. Here's him getting awards from the LULAC people. I don't know if you know who LULAC is. It's basically, it's a group of people who are very, good Lord, that lady's face is just really big. LULAC is a Hispanic-oriented organization that tries to like promote rights for Hispanic people and stuff like that. And here he is getting awards from that group. It's like, you know, the guy was, you know, Mr. Madrigal was a big wheel. He was a big cheese for a while, okay? But here's the thing that you need to see. Okay? Ray Madrigal got a little full of himself. And he started making decisions that, you know, were not great, so to speak. He basically had to resign. And there were a number of reasons that it went into it, and it's like, it's not, you know, like, you can read some stuff about, like, what happened and everything, but basically Mr. Madrigal had to resign because the state was looking into the finances of the district, and they found a few things that they didn't like, and the allegations that they were talking about were basically stuff like people were being given jobs without the proper, how can I say this nicely? They didn't go through the proper process that the state requires. Okay, that was the allegation. And like there were allegations of nepotism because there was a lot of people in the district who were related to Mr. Madrigal who were getting jobs at the district, and some people looked badly on that. And, you know, there was some stuff going on that some people, I'm not saying everybody, I don't even want to give my opinion on it because I don't really want to have one. But there were some people who were making allegations that Mr. Madrigal was using the position of superintendent for his own benefit and for the benefit of his friends, and, you know, some stuff like that, that just, you know, jobs were being given not on the best of reasons. Let's just leave it at that and say that despite the fact that he had come up and he had done well and he had worked hard to get to where he was going, choices were made that were not great, and Mr. Madrigal was forced to resign. Okay? So the moral of the story here is work hard, achieve success, but don't lose yourself in the process. Okay? Don't lose yourself in thinking that you're a big shot. Okay? Always be humble. No matter how far you go in life, always be humble. Remember where you came from. Work hard to improve yourself. I mean, you know, you don't have to be upset about where you came from. You don't have to be ashamed of where you came from. But at the same time, you can also say, you know, there's room for improvement. Okay? You can always try harder and move up. I mean, you know, even the kids in the Dominion, the richest area of San Antonio, who live next door to Tim Duncan, there is room to move. There is room for up in their lives. There's room for up in everybody's life. Okay? And you don't have to move to the Dominion. I mean, you know, drive down the streets around here, it's like you'll see some houses that are pretty nice, pretty spectacular. And the thing is that, you know, if you decide to stay here and you like get a plot of land, build a nice house on top of it, a whole bunch of other people do the same thing, and they all come back with their great educations and, you know, get, you know, really good jobs and come back down here and build really nice houses. That improves the property values around here, and that improves the tax base around here, and that improves the amount of money that the school district gets around here, and then Mr. Lincoln gets a raise. So yeah, everybody do good. You don't have to necessarily move out, but, you know, work hard and improve your station in life. Okay, and that's my point to you. Don't be like Mr. Madrigal necessarily. It's like move up, but, you know, remember where you came from, and watch out for those moral pitfalls sometimes that come your way. Okay, always be humble, always keep striving, never be satisfied, keep trying. There's some motivation for you. Okay, so I did want to bring that to your attention. It's like there are people around here. And I mean, look at your current principal, you know, at McCollum High School, Mr. Markine. He comes from this school district. He worked hard. He got his principal certifications. He went down to Harledale Middle School. He succeeded there. Now he's back here at McCollum High School. He's now the principal. He's a local kid. He's doing great. There's a lot of people around here from this area that do great things. Okay? I remember seeing, like, in one of the local places to eat, it's like John Redcorn from King of the Hill. He's actually a local boy. There's a lot of people who do a lot of good stuff, and you don't have to be a Hollywood actor or a big shot superintendent to make a difference. You know what? Just being the best you can be, doing the best job you can, and being able to sleep at night knowing that you did your best, that you put your best effort into whatever it is that you were doing that day. Hey, man, that's the best way to get a good night's sleep, is knowing that you did your best, knowing that you put your best effort forward, and knowing that someday it's all going to pay off, and you are going to be rewarded for all this hard work that you're doing. Like me when I went to Hawaii Pacific. You know, I went to Hawaii Pacific University. I mean, Hawaii, man. You know, it's like, did I want to go to school after work every single day, and sometimes on Saturdays, and like miss out on parties and not get to go to the beach after, you know, like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, do some surfing? Oh man, I would love to go surfing and be one of the dudes on the beach. You know, it's like I had 2 surfboards. I actually bought 2 surfboards while I was in Hawaii, and it's like I never got the chance to get good at it because I was getting good at something else that was going to pay off. I mean, surfboarding was never going to pay off for me. I was never going to be a professional surfboarder. But I was going to be a professional person in the business world, and that's why I went and got a business degree. Okay, and I knew that day was coming, and I knew that I needed to take the opportunity while I was in the Navy to get them to pay for my entire degree practically while I was in the service, be debt-free, no college debt coming out of my Navy career with a freshly minted college degree, no debt, no debt on that college degree, and just being ready to take on the world. It's like I had to put in the time. it kind of sucked because there were times where I wanted to just, you know, sit back, relax, you know, take advantage of this opportunity to live in Hawaii, one of the most beautiful places in the world. But it's like I knew that this day was coming, and I knew that I needed to get work done. And, you know, despite the fact that it was Hawaii, I knew that I had to put in the work. Okay, so that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I wanted to get you guys a little motivational something or another for you on this Monday. Get you guys all hyped and ready to go for the thing that you got going on next week. One of the things I want to bring to your attention real quick is this. This is a thing, and let's go ahead and whoa. Okay, freetypinggame.net. If you're not good at typing things yet, if you are not really capable on the keyboard, we're going to go over that a little bit later on with a PowerPoint that shows how to do some proper keyboarding techniques, how to sit right, how to get your fingers on the keyboard so that you're in the right position to get the maximum speeds out of your fingers. Freetypinggame.net is a good place to go every day. I mean, 5 minutes a day. That's all you got to do. Every day, 5 minutes a day. Get yourself in front of the thing. I'm going to show you what it's like. I'm going to do a little bit of. I'm going to do a little bit of this sometimes with some typing tests that will get you guys where you need to be. Okay, so freetypinggame.net, free typing tests. Just go in for like one of the classic tales, maybe like, you know, click it on 5 minutes. I'm going to do a 1 minute test, okay? So freetypinggame.net, go to tests, select it, one of the tests. If you're really starting out, you know, like you don't really know what you're doing, they've got home row, which is basically like the keys that you should rest your fingers on. And it's like it gets more, gets a little bit, you know, more, more difficult, like more things. You can also like just, you know, let me really try and work on these fingers or this hand or something like that. And then you got just general classic tales. Also, if you are like a Spanish speaker, like there's one of them that you can use just Spanish words or French words or German words, okay, for good practice, okay? But like, let's just see what it's like. Okay, so a 1 minute typing test. You may select a 5 minute typing test. Give yourself more practice. You start the test, and it gives you this, but you can start. And what you do is you just follow the prompts on the screen and go ahead and type it up. It takes off points for spelling errors, so you got to be real careful. It also wants you to do things like proper capitalization and using the common stuff like that. So let's see how it goes. Once upon a time, there was an honest shoemaker. Notice how every time I do something wrong, it's red. You can use the backspace key to make a correction. Now be careful, sometimes whenever you're doing these tests in the real world, it doesn't actually let you do that, and if you press backspace, it actually counts the next letter wrong. So always be sure what kind of tests you're working on. As you go towards this part, it's like once you get towards the bottom, it starts moving things up a little bit on you so that you can still see what's written. Okay, and this is terrible for me. I was trying to talk while doing it, so it didn't go great. And, oh, it gave me one error, which knocked it down to 43. That's not cool. I was just about to correct that. Okay, so as you go along with these games, with the free typing game. There are games, but you know the games aren't really that challenging, and I would really prefer if you didn't play the games. I would rather you did lessons, where it can show you what things to do, or particularly just the tests. And if you're really starting off early, just go start with number 1 test and do that for a few days, and then once you're good at that, once you've got your fingers in place and they're on the right spot and you're comfortable there, go to test 2 and then work your way to test 3 and then work your way to test 4. Okay. Get good at typing. When you're good at typing, you get your work done faster. Okay, whether that's schoolwork, typing up things, or if you are working on writing letters at your corporate job later on in your nice air-conditioned office, Being good at typing means that you get your work done faster, and that's more time you have for playing Xbox. And we all want time for playing Xbox, right? Yeah, buddy. Okay. All right, so make sure that you are working on that kind of stuff. All right, this is enough. That's 40 minutes right there. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Time for questions. Also, make sure that you are checking on the Google Classroom. This week's check-in, your attendance check-in, you're going to do the same one every day for all 5 days. Okay, it's a weekly one this time. I'm not going to give you one for each individual day of the week. You will definitely have to be sure to check in every day on this thing. Fill out the form every day, submit. Fill out the form the next day, submit. Make sure you're doing it once a day, every day, all week. Okay? Tomorrow there's going to be a little bit of something about what you saw today and a little bit of a informational thing about how to sit upright in your chair and make sure that you are not getting carpal tunnel syndrome and stuff like that. Okay? We will see you on Wednesday, Cowboys. Adios.